Back live here, coast to coast, border to border on iHeartRadio today. Also, AMFM247.com. Tune in. iTunes. You can find us each and every day over there at JiggyJaguar.com. That is JiggyJaguar.com. And we've got a great guest with us today.
Yeah.
She is amazing. She just is... I don't even have enough things in the English language to say about this woman.
Well, that's nice.
She is amazing. So go ahead and give me a brief introduction on yourself, my friend. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. So I am UG. I am a cosmopolitan artist.
That is awesome.
Currently
that is friggin' fantastic. If that is not trademarked, you need to trademark that.
We're gonna trademark that. Yeah. I am currently in the world of Afro beats, but I've done everything from rock and soul, dance pop, just regular contemporary, folk-like music. I've been an artist for about 20 years now, more than 20 years now. So yeah, I'm usually currently based out of Philadelphia, but I was raised in New Orleans, Louisiana. So always NOLA girl for life, first off and foremost. But currently we are in Philly. So.
That is fantastic. We have got a great guest with us today. She joins us live here on our big program. So where exactly do you want to be in a couple years with all this?
Well, hopefully on my world tour, right? That's what I would hope. But really, realistically, you know how Rebecca Black made a comeback?
Yes.
I would be okay if I was just Rebecca Black level, get a little band, have a show or two at the Fillmore here in Philly, I mean, obviously, yeah, it'd be really cool, but would it be to be like, Rihanna world status? But with that comes like, Rihanna, Beyonce, they can't take the train. Everyone knows where they are. So there's a certain anonymity that like comes with like not being so big you can still like go to the grocery store. So when I was younger, it was like, yeah, I want to be like the biggest star in the world. But as I've gotten older, I do appreciate that I can still live like a normal person. But I just want to be able to share my music with more people. So even if I just got a little bit more, of my music out there, that would be the best thing for me. The person I'd like to model after, the big thing to talk about is how Master P, he just got distribution. He didn't, really be signed. I would do that. And doing UG on the level I've been doing it now for the past 4 years, I've really grown to like my independence. Because, when you're younger, you don't know anything. You're just like, oh, yeah, I want to get signed. But I've had a couple of friends that have been signed, and you really are kind of held back. You can't release things as you want. And sometimes I've actually heard some record labels will sign you just to keep you out of the competition and then just hold all your stuff, So I think I would
Vince McMahon used to do that with pro wrestlers. He would sign them so they couldn't go anywhere else, and then they just sit at home and they made a check.
So exactly. So that's what I would want to be able to keep my independence, because I have been really accustomed to like releasing a song when I want, or some of them maybe like I didn't have to release them, but they're my passion projects and I did. And if I was with a label, I wouldn't be able to do that. Or you're only getting to release things like maybe twice a year. So I would want to stay independent. I just need a little bit more moolah. Really, I just want someone who's going to like pay for some stuff. Pay for some of these music videos.
you want a little bit of support is basically what you're looking for.
Basically, that's what I'd like.
I think that's awesome. I think that's fantastic. We have got a great guest with us today. She joins us live here on our big broadcast. So, how do people find you online and get your stuff and all these things?
I'm currently biggest where I'd use my stuff the most is Instagram. So that's under UGO. So that's EUGEE_O. I've also got all my music videos are on YouTube. So you'd have to type in EUGEEO and then like one of my songs like Weekend, because my star meter's rising, but it's not all the way there yet. So sometimes it tries to ask Eugene. No, not Eugene. Eugene. So, but EUGEEO on YouTube, of course on Facebook. But also, I've also noticed that if you just type in Eugene to Google, my SEO is also going up as well. So
that's awesome.
UGE.
That's awesome. Well, you've got a little bit of everything going on. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, for folks that don't know what an Afrobeats artist is, explain this to us, because we interview all sorts of different people on this show, whether it's rappers, rockers, whoever the hell it is.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, I'll have Afrobeats people on.
Okay.
And they know what the hell's going on, but they don't know how the hell to tell people about it. So tell us what the hell an Afrobeats artist is.
So, okay, well, I'll say this, first of all. Well, obviously, it's Afrocentric. So right now, one of the biggest artists right now in Afrobeats is Burna Boy, Wizkid, Thames. And so it's going to be kind of reminiscent of like island music, not reggaeton, but it's, the drums and everything, bass, rhythmic. And so people might, I guess, place it to like similar to like island music. So if you think about things like Sean Paul, not quite like OG reggae like Bob Marley, but more like Sean Paul is what people who don't really know what Afrobeats is, they would start off to think. But also then it kind of still is its own category in that it's like more drumming, more rhythmic. And so it's it's coming up now really, really big. I mean, obviously in Africa it's been a big thing for a while, but like I said, now Burna Boy, Wizkid, Thames, they have made this the face. They're the face of Afrobeats right now. And currently also there's a subset of Afrobeats that is on piano, which is Tyla Water, the Make Me Sweat. But that
I heard the piss out of that song when I was driving around.
So that's on piano, and that's basically Afrobeats with like dance music behind it, like a dance EDM Afrobeats. That's basically what it is. And actually now, Piano is now kind of surpassing Afrobeats. So they're still pretty big out there, but now Piano is now what's cool and popping. It has a really, really distinct, I don't know what the instrument is, but there's a distinct like kick that it does. And you're like, like a little bass woofer thing. And like, oh, that's on piano. So that's really what, if you're really trying to think about Afrobeats, what's popping, it's that Tyla Water song, and also that song that Rima did when he put Selena Gomez on there, which I didn't think that he needed to do because it's perfect already. But that song with Rima and with Selena Gomez, that's also Afrobeats. So.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We have got a tremendous guest with us today. She joins us live here on our big broadcast. So, with your name, I am very interested to know, is this an artist name or is this, as the great Jim Cornette says, your Christian God-given name?
It's an artist name. So UG was born in 2008 when I was on my dance pop swing. And so my name is Ugorji. I'm Nigerian. I was born in California, but my parents are Nigerian. So I'm Nigerian, and my first name is Ugorji. It's Ugorji. And when I was in college, I was a server at Cheesecake Factory and Red Lobster. And I knew that if I went up to someone's table and was like, "Hi, I'm Ugorji, your server tonight," they'd be like, "What? Who?" And I'd never get their order.
That's right.
So I basically just took the U and the G and I spelled it phonetically. And it became UG. And then I guess from that, when I got back into dance, that's kind of also around the time when Beyonce had her little alter ego, Sasha Fierce. And so I was like, oh, cool. Like, I can have an alter ego, too. That can be UG. And so that's basically when UG was born. So it is an artist's name.
That is awesome. We have got a great guest with us today. She joins us live here on our big broadcast. So what is your reaction and reception to your music like? What in the world is all this? Give me some details with all this stuff.
Yeah. So I would say, and no matter what genre I've ever done, I feel like everyone's always been pleasantly surprised. Um, I do feel like when I started in high school. Me and one of my friends, we would get together, and I would write songs, melodies, and then he would sit with me and accompany me. His name was Sam, and we would practice in the schoolyard at lunch. I'm a junior.
That's awesome.
We would practice out there, and I will say, like, because of my name and all that stuff like that, and like being like African and everything, I was like bullied a lot. People thought I was weird, and I mean, I was kind of weird, but I really do feel like when I first started, when we started at open mics around New Orleans, and when people first started coming, they were coming to laugh at me. Like, they weren't coming because they're like, oh, like, she's cool. It was more like, oh, let's go see what she's gonna do. But then they'd be like, wait, like, she's actually good. And then from there, like, we would like pack out these open mics, and like the owners would be like, yo, like, we've never had more than 5 people in here. Like, how did you get these people here? So after a while, it would be packed out. Like, people couldn't get standing room only. And I would other people joined the band. So in my high school, it was me, I was the lead singer, and then Sam was guitarist. There was an Indian guy that was on bass, this guy Andy on the drums, and I had 2 backup singers. And that was Gorgie at the time, and so it was rock and soul. But anyway, so it was people were pleasantly surprised. Same with Dance Pop in Chicago. I made some songs with my friend Nick, who also he's also from New Orleans as well, but we went to the same college. And we made tracks, and we started playing them at parties. People were like, yo, this is really awesome, So people were always like, whoa, you're not expecting it. And I feel like I honestly, this is not ego, y'all. I really feel like I have been on the wave of like starting new genres, but obviously because I'm nobody, no one really cares. But like, so I would say the genre that I was doing, what I call it rock and soul in New Orleans, Tank and the Bangas. What Tank and the Bangas is doing, that's what I was doing in 2005. Same with like the dance pop, like, that was around the time when Lady Gaga, Rihanna, people started using like EDM beats and stuff for their songs. We were doing that, so I just feel like I've always kind of been on this wave of doing something really different, especially because I have my voice, like it's this kind of raspy, deep voice. And so I can sing the way people think. People expect a certain like voice to come out of me. And I will say that, like I said, always pleasantly surprised because they think it's going to be something else, but it's not, but they still like it. Now, the bad part about that is, and I'm going to say this, Black people tend to not that they don't like me, but it's more like this. When Black people do like me, they like fuck with me real, real hard. But when they don't, they're like, because they expect me to be like Fantasia or like, I don't know what they're expecting for me to sound like. And when I don't, they're kind of confused. So, but I will say when they are really like fucking with me, they fuck me really, really, really hard. So, pleasantly surprising. We always got really good beats, really great, I guess, melodies, really, really catchy. And I feel like I'm really, like I said, that's why I'm a cosmopolitan artist. Really crossover is what I feel like I would be. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We have got a great guest with us today. She joins us live here on our big broadcast. Coast to coast, border to border on iHeartRadio today, and also AMFM, 247.com, tune in, iTunes. And so where exactly can we find your music?
Yeah. So you can definitely, obviously, find it on all major digital music platforms. On Spotify, you'll find me on Apple Music, Pandora, if anyone's still using Pandora, I don't know, YouTube Music. Basically all the major ones, and just EUGEE. And I have all my music on there. I got music, I got R&B sounds, I got Afrobeat sounds. My most recent release was Tempe, which I released this past summer, which has been a great, big global hit. We even got it on the iTunes Africa this summer. So
that is awesome. I did not know there was an iTunes Africa. I think that's pretty badass.
Yeah, so Tempe has been taking the world around by storm, and we're still working on that. We are really trying to push it out there. I mean, we've got it out, but we need 7 other billion people to also hear it as well. So maybe it'll be the next big thing, We can get rid of the Tyler Water song, and now I'll be on Tempe.
I tell you, I hear that goddamn thing everywhere.
Good for her, though.
Whoever the hell her agent is, or whoever is paying these radio stations under the table to play these songs. I mean, that stuff doesn't happen. They are.
I've learned so much in this business over the past couple of years. I'll tell you that.
I'll tell you, there is a guy, and he's never going to hire me, so I guess we'll out him. There's a guy in Wichita, Kansas, who makes a small fortune by having radio stations pay him to play artist music, and they donate to his nonprofit.
Oh.
So,
but I mean,
there you go.
But I mean, that's what's happening everywhere, isn't it not? You know, I mean, that's essentially what the record labels are doing for the race. It's pay for play.
Well, yeah, that's all it is. You know, that they might have made payola illegal back in the day, but people are still doing it. Come on.
Yeah, of course.
That's like I know a lot of people. We interview a lot of people in the porn industry, and they do the porn thing, but they also escort, and it's like, guys. You know, you might have made prostitution illegal, but these bitches still hooking.
Right? No, you're right.
So they made payola illegal, but record labels are still paying radio stations to play people's music. Come on.
I know.
Let's
hope that we'll get Tempe on there soon.
So, what is next for you as an artist?
So, actually, I am currently working on some more songs. I do have a couple beats. I'm actually also looking into Brazilian funk, because that's the next
Brazilian funk, baby.
Yeah, Brazilian funk. Right now, I guess the biggest artist that most people in the U.S. are going to know about is Anitta. She had that song that came out this summer called "Used to Be a Hoe." Very catchy.
Used to be a hoe.
No,
I used to be a hoe.
It's great. But yeah, so that's the new wave. So I do have a couple of those Brazilian funk beats, and I would like to shoot a music video in Brazil. But prior to that, I'm also working with some, I guess, producers, some sound engineers, and everything, and actually in Nigeria. We're basically, the plan is to make me the biggest, hottest Afrobeats artist that's not in Nigeria currently.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm working with these guys, got a couple of new beats and everything. I'm really, really excited about it. I'm excited to get more music out. This is actually the longest I've gone without releasing something new. And more so just, you know, I know that Tempe is a really good song, and I just know that I just need to get more people to hear it. Because previously, you know, like I said, I've learned a lot in these past 4 years doing UG at this level, and I would release a song and maybe give it like 2-3 months and keep changing it, you know. But you know, I've learned to understand now that music is marketed. It's not like you know, like a hit is marketed. Even though the Tempe is a great song, it's a hit regardless. But you do have to spend the time and really, you know, try and put it out there. So we've had billboards up for it. We are doing interviews about it. We are posting about it. We're getting it out on social media. So this is actually the longest I've actually ever gone without having something, you know, cranked out, ready to go. But that means that also that I'm taking more time and working on things that will have a wide appeal for everyone. And we've gotten pretty good feedback about Tempe. Everyone loves it. So we know we're on the right track.
That's awesome. Well, you are making all sorts of things happen. Just amazing stuff. We have got a great guest with us today. She joins us live here on our big broadcast. And so what has the feedback been on social media to your stuff?
So I'd say, well, it's actually been pretty good. You know, we got the numbers up. We're up at 20K followers, really good engagement. Like I said, people love it. They are pleasantly surprised. I recently on my YouTube shorts have been blowing up, you know, and what I'm getting on there, a lot of the comments are like, how does no one know about her? We love an underrated queen, you know, which I love, because I do feel like a little underdog, you know, and I was just actually really surprised last week because I hadn't looked at it in a long time, like going to read the comments, and comment after comment was like, where is she coming from? Like, how come we haven't heard about UG yet? So it makes me think that what I'm doing is working, just being consistent with everything. I've even had people that I work with they saw the Tempe music video. Now, usually I don't really tell people at work about me and my other life, because my day job, I'm a physician in the day. So I don't really tell people at work. Like, I'm not going to go to my patients, hey, guess what? I'm a pop star too. But anyway, lately,
That's awesome.
my nurses, they were like, I love what you're doing. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like trying to play dumb. I'm like, what do you mean? Tempe, tempe. And at first, like, I tried to like ignore them, like, if like I didn't hear them. And then they brought it up on YouTube, like, we just saw you on YouTube. I'm like, how? They're like, we were just on YouTube and your stuff popped up. So that's also a good sign that it's spreading organically on its own. But then it also kind of made me be like, shit, like, now they're going to know what you're doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That is
Oh, yeah.
fantastic. Well, you have been doing some incredible stuff. I think it's crazy that you are a physician, but you are also as you said earlier, a pop star, which is awesome.
Yeah, physician, pop star, musician, physician, whatever you call it.
There is a woman in the pro wrestling business who is a dentist during the day, and then she's a wrestler. She is referred to as Dr. Britt Baker.
I love
DMD.
that, though. She's knocking teeth out and then fixing them in the next day.
That's right. That's right. That is awesome. That is fantastic. We have got a great guest with us today. She joins us live here in our big broadcast. So I am intrigued by this thing of people at work finding out about you.
Yeah.
Take me through all this. When did all this start? How did this go? Because I got to know all the details on this.
Yeah.
gimmick.
So, I mean, I kind of kept it a secret because, let me see, what was it? Well, mostly because I don't like people at work in my business like that, just in general. Because people are nosy, and then they're gathering information on you, and I don't really need you to know like what I'm doing on the weekends. Not that I'm doing anything crazy, you know what I mean? It's not nuts. Like, I will say, I do try to keep a level of demure going on with it because, yes, someone could happen upon it, and I'm not just doing it because of that, but I mean the type of person that I am. I'm a classy, sexy person, kind of like in the way of like Beyonce, where you're never going to see everything out at once. You know what I'm saying? Like, either I'm going to have the tits out and everything else covered up, or I'm going to have like the legs out. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not all at once. And that's just my style in general. But yeah, I mean, because for some people it could be conflicting. I mean, especially like I said, because I'm a doctor. You do have to like be careful, and like I said, not that anything I'm doing is profane at all. I don't really curse in my songs. I'm not out there really like twerking or anything. But it's just like people have this idea of what a doctor's supposed to be, and so when you challenge that, even if you're not doing anything like really abhorrent, it still can kind of get you in trouble. Like, I feel like there was a job I interviewed for, and like, I think they looked me up, and I think that's why I didn't get it. But again, blessing in disguise, you never know where you're being saved from, but I really do think that's the reason why I didn't get that job. And like I said, not because I was doing anything gross, but I mean, there's just people have ideas of what a doctor's supposed to do, what not supposed to do. Like, there are a lot of like doctors who are on TikTok, but they're doing like medical stuff. I'm not doing any medical stuff. Like, I'm not doing any teachings. I'm just being me, UG, because being a doctor is not all that I am. Like, it's honestly like, one time I was in therapy, my therapist was like, hey, make a list of like 10 things that you are. And like, doctor didn't even crack the top 10. You know what I mean? Like, it's something I do.
Doctor didn't even crack the top 10.
Yeah, I did it, but I am very good at it, and I love being able to help my community and give insight and everything. But it's not the only thing about me. I am so many things. I mean, same with being a pop star. Pop star is in the top 1, 2, and 3 of my life, but I'm so many things. I am a wife. I am an amazing dancer. I'm funny. I'm a writer. I'm a poet. So I'm a lot of things, and I don't like to be boxed into one thing. So yeah. But anyway, so yeah, people are finding out, and I'm just trying to acknowledge it, but try not, I'm not going to friend them on Facebook. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to if they find me on Instagram, cool. Like, I'm not going to stop them, but I'm also not like really out there trying to or tell my patients, and that's also why I like my name, my stage name, because you're never going to type in my name as a doctor and it's going to connect to UG, because my name is UGORJI and UG is EUGE. It's like not connected in any way. So there's no way that anyone's really going to connected. Now, if I get bigger and then they start like putting that in there, okay, sure, it's going to come up on the SEO. But in general, if a patient's looking for me, you're not really going to find UG next to Gorgio Corey MD.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
I think that's awesome. That's awesome. We have got a great guest with us today. She joins us live here on our big program. And so, music videos. Have you done any of these? Are you working on anything like this?
Yeah, I've done about like over 10 music videos in the past.
That's awesome.
Last biggest one was in Miami. That was a Tempe music video. We shot my birthday weekend in April. And that, oh, you remember Tiger King when one dude was like, I'm never going to financially recover. That's how I felt after the Tempe music video.
Tiger King
it was a lot.
People are still making Tiger King references. I think that's awesome.
Like that was the meme for me all this goddamn summer. It was a lot of money, but it's worth it. The Tempe music video was great. And I feel like we elevate our music videos every single time, almost to the point that I'm always worried when I make a new one because I'm like, well, shit, how am I going to top this one? So I got a great team.
How am I going to top this one?
No, seriously. Like this last one we did, you know, we were on a yacht. You know what I'm saying? Like we have. That's like I'm like, what am I gonna do next? Go to space? Like I'm gonna have to fucking.
Hey, you could.
But
you
I've
you
done,
could.
like I said, over 10 of them, and with the majority of the current group that I have, they're all these creators out of Dallas. A wonderful team. The guy who does my music videos is Films by Prophecy, and so he's pretty well known in Dallas. He shoots all the music videos for like really big artists. Like right now, he's been shooting a lot of music videos for Finesse 2 times, and when Mo 3 was still alive, he did a lot of big ones for Mo 3, Kevin Gates, you know. So he is really well known, and so are a lot of my makeup artists, my clothing stylist. So we got a whole team, and it's taken a while to amass them, but we work great. It's always a great time. It's always a lot of work, but it's always a great time together. Like my family, my second family, I'm usually in Dallas about once a month, either when I'm editing or something, or like going to like work on dance moves or working on styling. So I'm pretty much in Dallas at least once a month. And yeah, so, but currently I don't have any music video plans. If I do, I'm thinking about shooting one in Brazil, but with that one, it's not going to be like a whole production. It'll probably be a little bit more tame because I'm not going to fly 8 people out to Brazil. I don't have that type of money. This is still America. Doctors don't make money.
So, have you brought something up earlier that is interesting. All these doctor people doing things on TikTok. Have you thought about maybe doing something like that?
No, because I gotta tell you, I don't care enough.
That's awesome.
I'm on TikTok as UG, I do this Friday Feelings video every Friday, like clockwork for the past 4 years, and that's what I do for myself. I'm usually like singing like the latest hits or something, whatever, and that's for me. But I'm not really interested in like. And I know a lot of I have some colleagues that are out there making a whole bunch of money as influencers. One of them is a TikTok dog. He's cool. This guy Sunday.
TikTok dog. That is fantastic.
I'm happy for. He coined that right when TikTok came out, but he's pretty big on there. He's an oncologist now.
TikTok dog, baby.
But I'm just not interested in doing that. Because I don't want people to see me as a doctor. Like I said, even though I'm proud of that and that I do that and I'm helpful, that's just not all of me. And I've seen too many people in the medicine world, like that's the only thing they are. Then their whole identity is attached to that, and it's like really pathetic, honestly. Like it's really sad. Like they're the guys who always want people to know that they're a doctor and always dropping their doctor. Real people, like people who are like all the good doctors that I know, we don't tell people. Like we're not out there. Be like,
see, that's the thing, man.
You do that with raps.
Yeah. You don't need to be out there telling people if
it's a liability. Because in New York City they have a thing called MD plates. So I guess you won't get a ticket or whatever. But the thing is, you're making yourself a target because one, people are going to break into your car because they assume you're an MD of money, or people are going to jump in front of your car and act like you hit them. I don't want people knowing what I do. Like I had this one friend, she's out in Cali, and she told me that when her hairdresser found out she was a doctor, she started charging her $50 more simply because she was a doctor. Bullshit
You
like
know,
that, bro. Nah, you
way
go
back
catch me.
way back in the day, old Howard Stern, who is now for whatever reason become Howard Hughes. I don't know what's going on
I
there,
know, right?
but he won't leave his house. He hasn't left his house since COVID. He apparently has this thing that he does in his house where when he gets Amazon packages, they go into a special room and they are opened, and then oh yeah, he's fucking crazy now. If Howard from the 90s were to show up and see this Howard, he'd kick him in the nuts.
Yeah.
That's just how it would be. You know, Howard running around with Whoopi Goldberg and blackface would show up and kick this Howard Stern's ass.
Right.
That's how that would go. That's how it all would go down. But one of the things with him is he used to tell people, he used to hate it when he would see different things reported in the media about he had signed this much for a contract, because he's like, if I go to a barber shop, they're going to turn around and instead of charging me $10, they're going to charge me 30.
You're right, exactly. I'm not trying to do all that. Like, why should I change that? Why should that change just because I'm an MD? Like, I'm telling you, like, people. I'm trying to think why the reason. Because medicine, I guess it's a big thing. Medicine has changed. It was really paternalistic before. Usually old white men. Sorry, it was. They're still there. But, you know, there really was a different type. It was a different world, a lot of more prestige. Honestly, being a doctor these days, there's no prestige in it. It's just, we're all just being like shit kicked and being stomped on. But the thing is, the patients don't understand that. They think that like we're out here like taking deals and kickbacks and stuff. No, we're not. Honestly, we don't. And it's like really, and
and also, and this is something else that isn't. We are doing all sorts of different things today with you. You know, one of the things that I get the impression with you, just from everything you've said, you're one of these people who you got into doing this stuff to be a doctor and all this stuff to help people.
Yeah.
And there are so many people. In fact, I will bring this up once again. The Hutchinson, Kansas medical system is the most craziest medical system I've ever been involved in. Everybody here is on blood pressure medication. Everybody's got high blood pressure. And I kind of tend to think that maybe they're getting a kickback from the people that are selling high blood pressure medication. because, well, in fact, fairly recently, my mother went to a doctor and they said, hey, your blood pressure is fine. It's all that medication you're taking. She hadn't taken nothing. And so it's so strange. Like, she switched doctors fairly recently because the doctor that she had went down the list of stuff and they go, well, you're not on any medications. Yeah. She's like, yeah, because I'm healthy.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
And he's like, no, we need to get you on some medications. And so we have this thing of like people like you who you got into this, you got into the medical business to help people, and then you do this music thing, and at some point the music thing will be your main thing. Yeah. But then these doctors, it's kind of like we were talking about with the record labels earlier.
It's true. And I'm also, so I'm internal medicine, I'm your primary care. And so I'm internal medicine and I'm also lifestyle medicine. So I'm in the business of trying to make sure I'm trying to get people off of medication.
Yes.
As much as possible.
Yes.
That's what I do. Trying to change your life, lifestyle modification. That's the biggest thing. So I have certified in lifestyle medicine, and also I also do sleep medicine. I'm actually studying for my sleep medicine boards right now. But I'm like, it's what's interesting. I've actually had patients that argue with me. Like, I try to take them off their diabetic medication because their A1C is doing great. And they're like, well, what do you mean? Like, I need it. I'm like, sir, your A1C has been in the normal range for like
I need it.
Like, and I'm trying to get them off it. I'm like, let's do a trial. I promise if it goes back up, we'll get you back on. And they stay fine. Like, so it's actually funny. I actually have patients that are like doubting me. And I'm like, I'm trying to get you off this medication that you don't need. Like, trust me here.
I was listening to Kurt Angle was on Joe Rogan's show fairly recently, and they were talking about, and I haven't watched it yet, primarily because Just craziness. But there apparently is a documentary series or something that Netflix did, and they were talking about all the things that have happened in the United States with all these drugs and all these drug companies and all the various things. And I guess in the very beginning, with some of these drugs, they talked to several doctors who these pharmaceutical reps would go in and talk to these people. And they were trying to get them, to buy these things and prescribe them to their patients and all these things. And one doctor out of like 15 of them that they talked to, the guy walks in and he goes, "This is heroin. You need to get the hell out of my goddamn office." So it's so strange. And like when you bring that up where the guy's like, where the guy got healthy and he's getting off the medication. And he's like, "Oh my God, I need it." And it's like, "No, you don't."
And it's just like, where I'm going, I left my other job. I'm starting a new job in December, and I'm really excited because the reps aren't allowed to come there. And I'm just like, because there's like, sure, bring pizza for lunch, but my thing is like the same people would come, right?
Lunch,
the same people would come every week. I'm like, Tyler, did anything change from last week to this week? Like, wait to come. I got patients to see, bro. Like, is there anything,
I got patients to see, bro.
1 week, dude. Like, why are you here again? Well, I need you to write more of this, but I'm not going to. That's the thing. Like, if I need to, I will. Like, you coming here is gonna make a difference. Yeah. Like, I'm actually very happy that this office I'm going to doesn't allow reps to come because it's really.
I think that's awesome.
Bother. It's a bother.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so I'm in the business of trying to get people off of medicine.
Well, see, this
I'm just educating people.
This is the thing. It's like I have, for several years, I have believed that they always talk about, we got to cure cancer, we got to do this, we got to do that. And I've always said there is. It's just it's a lot more profitable to have these diseases than it is to.
And so the thing is, and that's what I feel, and that's what I think. I clearly think that about the American healthcare system. That they talk about that they're interested in preventive health and stuff like that. That's what lifestyle medicine is about. But they don't really want that because if you're not sick, you can't go to the hospital. That's
That too.
And that's what I try to get people off, but.
I interviewed, or actually, I didn't do the interview. I wish I would have done the interview. It would have been all sorts of fun if I would have done the interview. But there was a guy that was a military contractor, and he was interviewed at one point, and he said, "Here's the deal. The reason why we sell bombs and make bombs and do war is because it's a lot more profitable than us going somewhere and building a bridge." So it's like,
you're right.
It's so strange. It is just so strange. Were you in what part of the medical world were you in during the whole COVID thing?
In the clinic. So
what kind of craziness did you see and have to deal with?
I gotta tell you, it wasn't too crazy. Let me tell you why. During COVID, I was still in Louisiana. So I was in Shreveport, Louisiana, and we were actually pretty isolated from it until that summer of 2020.
Oh, really?
Like, because it's so small, no one really goes to Shreveport. Like, you only are in Shreveport if you're with the LSU, you're there for residency, or if you're with the Air Force Base, because Barksdale is out there. And that's it. Otherwise, when people they'd ask my husband, they'd be like, "Wow, so you're here for LSU, huh?" He's like, "No." They're like, "No, Air Force." He's like, "No." Like, "Why are you here?" He's like, "My wife is here." It's like, you're not usually there unless you're from there, or you're for the medicine, or for Air Force. So, people weren't really coming in and out like that. So there weren't really a lot of cases until like August of 2020. And when you did have cases, because by then, we did do the whole shutdown thing. So. In March, you couldn't really come to the clinic anymore. You had to do the whole the temperature thing, whatever. And then we would have to go down the list and call people and tell them not to come, which I have a grimy story about that. But it's bullshit. So you rarely would have people to slip past and come into the clinic that we were suspicious of. Yeah. Mostly they were going to the ER. And like I said, the cases really weren't that bad until August when it did kind of get bad. But even so, I wouldn't even think really that much. Like, I don't think there was ever a time where we were like, oh my God, we ran out of beds. Like, it was like, yeah, the ICU is getting full, but it wasn't like crazy now. It was really crazy. Like, my good girlfriend in Dallas, she's infectious disease at Baylor. And so like I said, I do a lot of my UG stuff in Dallas. So I'd be in Dallas almost every weekend doing stuff. And I could tell how bad COVID was going based on what the weekend, like she'd be like, oh man, I was in the ICU today and 20 out of 30 was COVID patients. So that's how I could tell how it was going. And it was getting better. She'd be like, oh yeah, this weekend it was just like 4 out of 20. You know what I mean? So there was like a metric for me to tell like how bad things were. But yeah, so one thing where I was working at, which I was just hella grimy, dude. Like, so they would tell us to go down the list and call people not to come to the clinic, and then we do telemed, right? Wow. But then I would see people coming in, and this is like people like with COPD, oxygen tanks. So I'm like, hey, mama, like I thought we talked. And comes like, oh, well, somebody called me after and told me to come to the clinic. And the thing is, and I believe that shit. And the reason why they're doing that is because that was before insurance and Medicare and stuff like that allowed for you to get reimbursed for telemed visits. Because prior to that, telemed really wasn't a big thing, and so you didn't get paid for telemed, and so they didn't want us to do telemed because they weren't getting paid for it. And so they made all this noise about, oh yeah, like let's call the people and tell them to come in, look like we're doing due diligence. But then they would still call the people who really didn't need to come in, who really didn't need to be outside, and you would go behind my back and call them and tell them to come to the clinic anyway so they can get paid. Like, that was just such bullshit. I hate it.
Damn, so what much. A deal, man. Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Now I'm in Philly, so we love it out here.
You know, I just recently let's see. I always have to look to see where this interview is going before I open my mouth to say this. Okay, we were recently at the porn convention in New Jersey of all places, and it was a much better experience than it was 10 years ago. I will have to say, because 10 years ago. I'm driving through these tolls with Michael Nagy, and he's like throwing change out the window at the cops, and I'm like, what the world are you doing? And he's taking me to beaches where they got these list of rules, and I go up the thing, and everyone's violating the rules. I go to these delis, and when they find out I'm from Kansas, they immediately turn into Andrew Dice Clay and start, what do you have? What do you have? All this crap. So it was terribly easier than this last time, but we drove through. I made my lovely and talented Britannia. I made her drive through Philadelphia because I had to stop and run up the Rocky Steps, and then she told me to get in the damn car and stop being a mark, but.
But it was fun, right?
It was fun. I loved Philly. If I would have known that you were in that area, we'd have done this goddamn interview on video and we'd just done it there.
Yeah.
Instead of on the old Skype-a-rooney like we're doing now. But
now you can come back because people love Philly. They're always.
I'll tell you, I enjoyed Philly. I enjoyed driving around the. What was so funny was our GPS, because she will never use anything other than GPS. I don't know why. She says she's directionally challenged, I guess. I don't know. So it takes us to the Rocky Steps. You'll appreciate this because you're the first person on this. You're the first person that I've admitted this to because it's hilarious. It took us to the library, the art center, wherever this is.
Yeah.
And it took us to the back, and it said we were there. And I'm like, oh, perfect. So then I went up the steps, and I had her take a photo, and I told her to go up the steps. And then we come around the front of the building where the actual Rocky Steps are.
Right.
And I'm like, we ran up the wrong fucking steps.
Wrong steps, yeah.
But they did have the statue out, the Rocky statue.
I had heard the bronze footprints.
I had heard years ago that they had put the statue in storage, and a bunch of people threw a damn fit and they pulled it out of storage. So, But Philadelphia was a very interesting area. I will have to say, we drove down by some college that had something with a Z, I think it was. I don't know. We drove down, I think it was like a community college maybe type of thing. I don't know. And they had their own bus, and it was driving down back and forth across the campus and doing things. And I'm like, why are they advertising to themselves? Everybody who's here is already going here. What are they doing?
Yeah.
So I thought that was ridiculous, right. but that's fine. And then some guy stepped off the crosswalk and was going to walk in front of a couple cars, and Brittany went ahead and let him go in front of us. And I said, well, we are truly from out of state because this is Philadelphia. They had to just run his ass over. These people boo Santa.
They don't care. Philly is nuts. They have like these biker gangs, and they don't give a shit.
Biker gangs in Philly.
They don't give a shit. Like they would run the red lights. Like when I first got here, I was like, oh, this is weird, and they would run the lights. And the thing is, everyone. So we all now know if you see the biker gangs, you just let them go. Like, even if the light is green for you, you let them go because they're going to run it regardless, and they just don't give a shit.
Biker gangs, baby.
Or downtown, like at night, if you're like an old city, like even if it's green for you, I wait because they will just run that red light. They don't give a shit.
Wow. The stuff I know about Philly is you've got the Rocky thing with the steps and the statue. Yes. Randall Cunningham used to play for the Eagles.
Okay.
The Flyers, the hockey team. And in the 90s, there used to be I shouldn't say small because they ended up becoming the third, whether Eric Bischoff wants to admit it or not, the third major wrestling company. Extreme Championship Wrestling was in Philadelphia. They used to do their shows at one point was a bingo hall. Which is now what the hell is that? What the hell is that? Because I bet if I tell you where this is, you will I think it's at the corner of Swanson and Rittner, maybe. The 2300 Arena is what it's called now.
Okay.
It is in Philadelphia. It is. Let me see here. Of course it's got a Wikipedia page. The 2300 Arena is a multi-purpose indoor arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. It was originally known as Viking Hall, and then it became the XPW Arena, which.
I'm looking at it. It looks like I think I've seen this place.
Let's see.
I thought I've seen this place before. It's close to where I live.
That is I think I drive
past there all the time. I drive past this place.
It is at the corner of South Swanson Street and West Rittner Street.
Yeah. I actually know. I drive past here all the time. It's from my house. I live in South Philly. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a treat. This interview has gone a lot longer than I thought it was going to. I apologize that I've taken as much as your time, but we've talked about a little bit of everything today. We've talked about Philadelphia. We've talked about the medical industry, your music, a little bit of everything. One of the things that really bothered Britannia when we went through there, which I think she's just a weirdo, but she was bothered by she was like, I can barely breathe, all the smog.
So I did see this weekend. Were you there this past weekend?
Yes, we were there.
I woke up on the weekend and there was a alert. I was like, that's funny. It was weird. I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, so there was an alert this past weekend.
Okay.
I did see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just thought she was out of her mind.
No,
because she has gone. we get invited all the time to go down to Florida for the porn convention down there, and
How many porn conventions are
we
there?
never go to the Florida one because Brittany is allergic to the entire state of Florida, as she says.
Yeah.
She went down there for a hazmat training thing one time, and her eyes and her nose just ran the entire time she was there.
I believe it.
So
Florida's tough.
she
Very
is
toxic.
she has told everybody that she's allergic to the entire state of Florida. But
I mean, sounds about right.
but I'll tell you, if you've never been to New Jersey or the Florida one, or where else do they do these things? Washington D.C. or Vegas.
Yeah, look at DC.
You
Love
should go
DC.
to the
I want to go to the Vegas one. That would be cool.
AVN, the Adult Video News Awards.
I've heard about that one. I thought that was actually the only one. I didn't know there were other.
There's AVN, which is in Vegas every year. Ironically, it is, well, this year it was at the beginning of the month because everyone in the adult industry is a child. But they moved the porn convention because there was another convention that was doing their convention the week after, so they had to be the week before. And I'm like, just why are you moving this thing? So they went ahead and moved their convention, and it bothered all sorts of people and it caused all sorts of mayhem. But usually it is the last weekend in the month of January.
Okay.
However,
so that's interesting.
it is
damn.
because usually what happens is when me and the lovely and talented Britannia go to the porn convention, we always leave Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and we drive like crazy. We drive to.
Oh damn! Why? Because you have gear with you, I'm assuming.
Oh
Is that
yeah,
why?
yeah.
Whew, how long is that? 2 days?
Well, we leave on Monday. We drive to New Mexico. We stay overnight. Then we drive to Vegas, and then we're there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We come back Sunday, and then we usually get back on that Monday late.
Okay.
And,
wow.
And it's but the trip to New Jersey this year was 22 and a half hours.
Yeah.
From Kansas to Jersey and then back from Jersey to Kansas. And we couldn't leave like I wanted to leave, which was, 5 a.m.
Yeah.
We had to leave at 1:30 in the afternoon because her daughter supposedly had a parent-teacher thing we couldn't get out of.
Oh.
And then when we go to the parent-teacher thing, I get told all sorts of wild stories about how her daughter is so nice to people and she's so caring and she's so this. And I wanted to say so bad, we got a different kid here?
Right? Oh.
What's going on here? Did they swap out kids? Did they do like in did they do like they do in Major League Baseball? Did they trade her for a kid to be named later?
Trader.
I'm like, what is going on here? But Exotica is the one that we went to. Mm-hmm. Let's see. I want to try to figure out.
So it's 22 hours in each direction?
Yes, 22 and a half hours to Jersey.
So what did you do?
And 22 half hours back.
Or 3 days?
Well, I made it 3 days.
Yeah, that's what we
Brittany wanted to make it 1 day.
No.
She's like, I'm going to drive, and then you're going to sleep, and then I'm going to sleep, and you're going to drive. And I'm like, we're not doing that.
No, dude, no. Yeah, when we drove from Louisiana to Philly, we did it in 3 days.
Drove. But we're like, we're not doing that.
No, yeah, it's we're at that age. Like, so my husband's from Chicago, and so we go to Chicago a lot. And it's 12 hours from Chicago.
They have a porn convention in April in Chicago. You could go. I believe it is. Let's see here. Let's plan you a family trip. April. I believe it's going to be April 18th, or it'll be 19th, 20th, and 21st next year.
That's my birthday. So usually I'm gone. My birthday's April 28th, so usually I'm gone. I'm trying to go to Barbados this year, okay?
Barbados, baby.
Well, yeah.
That would be fun.
We usually drive from here to we have a dog, so but when we were younger, so we used to do Chicago, New Orleans, and we were young. We thought we were cool, so we'd leave at he'd get out of class at 6:00, and we'd drive and completely kill ourselves. As we gotten older, the trick is you leave at 4 or 5 a.m. and then you get there same day, and you can live. So we'll leave here at 4 or 5 a.m.
Yes.
to Chicago 4 p.m. And it's great. You still have dinner with their friends and then conk out. You gotta leave early, man.
I try to get Brittany to get in the car at I try to get everybody to leave at 5 a.m.
early as possible.
So we can get there and all this stuff, and it's sometimes such a mess trying to get her to get into gear. So the ideal time is to leave at 5 a.m., 4 a.m.
Yep.
Because
that's the way to do it.
That gets
if I'm driving solo, I won't do more than 6 or 7 hours by myself. So back in the day when I was going from New York to Chicago, we have friends in Cleveland. So Cleveland is about the half point.
That's right.
So I would drive to Cleveland, spend the night there with my friends, then continue the next day to Chicago. So I don't do more than 6, max 7 hours per day if I'm driving alone. Because he's time for that shit.
She's out of her mind. She drives. We're not doing this drive.
Yeah, one time we drove
Just
from
calm down.
Miami to Shreveport. It took 21 hours. It was awful. I wasn't expecting. I don't know what we were thinking because there's 3 of us driving. So I thought, we left at 1 a.m.
I don't know what we were thinking.
And got back at 6 p.m. to Shreveport. It was awful. It was so bad. Never again. I'll never do that shit again.
Yeah.
So
one of the things that Brittany does, which is amazing, is she always wants to pack sandwiches in the car. She's like, "Well, do sandwiches."
No, this is your time to get out and explore America with your mouth. Why would I want to pack it together?
Well, this has been a treat. You are amazing. We'll have to do this again because
yes, for sure.
Apparently 51 minutes is just not enough for me. I gotta have more. I gotta have more of you in my life. You are amazing.
Yeah. I told you. Aren't you pleasantly surprised? Most people are.
I'll tell you. As I always like to tell all the black porn stars when we have them on the show, you are my kind of perv magnet. I am. No, so you're great. This has been fun.
I have to come to Kansas. I've never been to Kansas. I have to come.
Oh, you don't need to come to Kansas. I'll come to Philly.
Right.
No way.
Or
I'll meet you in Chicago in April. Something. We'll do something. Sure. Well, you are great. Before we let you go, how do we get in touch with you, get your music, all the fun stuff?
Yeah, for sure. So we are going to go to Instagram, which is where I use the most. That's EUGEE_O. You can find me on TikTok. I'm not really doing TikTok dances. I don't roll like that, but I do some
TikTok dances,
on
baby.
there. I don't do that. So my TikTok name is EUGEE_MD. You can find me on all digital music platforms, Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube Music, every single one that's there, and that's under EUGEE. Now, it might try and correct you and say Eugene, but it's EUGEE. You're going to find me that way. I'm on Facebook Music as well. That's UG Music, so EUGEE Music. And I also have a website, www.ugmusic.com. So.
Fantastic. Well, you have been amazing. This has been just amazing. And I look forward to talking with you soon. Have yourself a wonderful, wonderful day, and I will talk to you soon.
Thank you so much. You too.
Thank you, my
it's
friend.
Been great, James.
There
Bye.
she goes, the fantastic UGO. That is amazing. That wraps it up here for this edition of our big program.